Hello. Uh, this is a very different video. Today we'll be looking at the thinking process and some just kind of review of Thinking Beyond that is already released. If you haven't heard the song, I recommend first listening to it before diving into this kind of analysis because as I before I start this, I kind of want to say what the song is about. So it's good that you know how it sounds like. The song is about a guy thinking, right? I specifically imagined a philosopher, like this Greek philosopher, just thinking. Hence, the photo of the single is a philosopher thinking, like a sketch. But yeah, the song is divided just into these three main pieces. It's introduction, kind of climax, and kind of the thinking, right? A guy kind of waking up, starting to think. He's heading somewhere, and you can just try to imagine he sits down maybe near the beach beside some Greek architecture like a temple or something, and he just thinks and he's staring out thinking, and that's like his whole day. He's just thinking and trying to wonder about whatever he may be thinking about. Um, and that's the kind of story this piece is telling, or at least trying to tell. But as we listen up to the first opening few seconds, just imagine, the day, like a day starting. The first thing, and then the guy starts thinking, right? So the song plays, day starts. It's kind of this development. And as the strings enter, you can kind of maybe imagine some random thoughts, he's thinking already. Yeah, so the bass, a little drone kind of, and then the cellos, we have a bit of a call of a response. We have violins here, then the cello take over, and then we have again the violins with the viola that play the same melody as the violin one and the violin twos. We have a bit of polyphony, just a bit, like yeah, we see the rising violin twos. Yeah, and then the violin twos kind of continue this blend as the viola and violin ones just stop. The violin twos just kind of continue the flow. Then we have some kind of staccato cellos uh, right here. Yeah, we played that twice. But originally, I'll say this. What you hear at the beginning, I added this much later. The original opening of the song was literally this. So it was always a solo, yeah, like a guitar, but that was the melody I was going for. But then I kind of just seen, yeah, well, this repeats for a while, and I just felt like when the guitar has its kind of moment for itself, it should be like different. That's why it is different, right? So yeah, and the main reason, some of you might be wondering why do I have this guitar kind of idea going for the whole piece? It's because you're supposed to zone out during this piece. It's supposed to be repetitive. It's supposed to be predictable. It's because it's supposed to reflect just thinking and just thinking and kind of zoning out sometimes while you just are in this deep thinking process, right? Well, anyways, here we have the introduction of kind of the 12 string guitar. Yeah, and this is the build up that's going up to the climax. We also, in this climax, introduced the percussions, which are very minimal. I like going for crazy percussion, but here it's minimal. And even when you listen to these toms, like you can barely hear it. You can't even really hear it in the song. Like it's it's very, very quiet. And I like doing that with my pieces when there's some very, very quiet elements, because sometimes you can hear it and it just works your imaginations. Like you rarely have to focus and you try to listen out for maybe sounds you didn't hear, you know? It's so it's like when you listen to the song many times, you might catch some things you never did before. But anyways, so here we have the climax of the piece, which happens very early, I'll be honest. Here we have the introduction of the French horns, that very simple melody. It's kind of just gives kind of accents to, yeah, to the to yeah, it just gives the accent a bit, just outlines it a bit. And here, strings, we have a bit of tremolo going on. Makes it more dramatic. Also, introduction of piano. Very simple. As a pianist, sometimes it's hard for me not to have some crazy piano parts, but it has to be done sometimes. Just these octave. That's all there is. As I was composing this, I had, of course, only this written, and this guitar was just kind of going. So you can imagine the piece, you know, originally kind of looked just like this. I wrote down the beginning and I was like, I just wanted the climax. Originally, all of this key change was kind of accidental. I'll get to it very soon. But yeah, I just want a verse and chorus. That's my original thought. And then I wanted to repeat to this. I really like the melody of this, right? But because I was messing around with the guitar, and I was just, you know, trying new loops. And by accident, I went to this new key. I was like, that sounds sick. And I liked it so much that the whole piece after this point just repeats like the same. I love this so much. Like, this is the best part of the song for me. Like, just this guitar melody. Yeah. And just like here, we have introduction to the melody, and this melody here, right here, is more developed. I did kind of the same with the drums or the percussion. Here, it's all a bit subtle, nothing crazy, and here, it's more developed now. So it's kind of the same idea process of just to bring something, introduce it just slightly, and then we boost it up. Same here, a bit, and boost it up, because if we listen to this without the drums, you will hear there's a lot of space that's missing in the ears, right? You see, you just want that something. It's like raising and nothing. So I had to add some percussion. Let's again, and yeah, builds it up already. Yeah, and here is the climax of this part right here. It's not as big of a climax as it is in kind of the first part of the song, but I just really wanted a change. Here we just have this guitar. We get introductions of the hurdy-gurdy, or the, nah, not the hurdy-gurdy. I forgot the name of this, not gonna lie, but it's a fiddle. I'm pretty sure it's some Nordic instruments. Also, if I make any mistakes with the instruments, let me know. It'll be cool, so everyone is educated correctly. But the brass only comes in a few times, really. It's not that crazy in this song. Yeah, very non-crazy going on here. We do have a 6-string bass in the background, in case someone was wondering what is this sound. Yeah, it is a bass, a real bass. Here, when we repeat this, basically this whole thing was copy pasted. I know it sounds lazy, but I just really liked I really like this. So it was simple, right? And I just added some changes here, like this harp little solo. We have some gamelan instruments. We have the dulk right here. Yeah, for me again, just fits this this fantasy sound a bit. This piece is, I think, the most repetitive piece I ever made. But that's the point. It's the point is to zone out, to just listen to this and not even think about the music. That's why it's so repetitive and so predictable. But then, here at the end, when we go to the end of the song, we kind of have. We return to the beginning melody, but keeping the same key. Because if you compare this directly to here, you can hear it's much different key-wise, and it sounds different, but it's the same idea. I'll say this, that a big thinking process is how to make this predictable but not boring. So I was really experimenting with different instruments. I was trying some Chinese instruments, but it just didn't suit the vibe, so I stuck with the dulk, and does come at the 3-minute 6-second area. One more thing with the piano. A bit more developed, but it's not that. And here is like probably the most it gets developed. Yeah, it's pretty simple. The harp again is it's the same thing the harp was playing, just this gets repeated. Sounds very beautiful for me. Yeah. There was a lot of copy pasting in the song for exactly this reason, just because when it sounds good, I liked it. But see you guys and see you in the next video. God bless.